All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a framework called the Insight Matrix. The whole point? To help you make those really big, high-stakes business decisions with a lot more clarity and a whole lot more confidence. It's about getting intelligence you can actually use. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? The world is just messy. It's complex, it's always shifting, and when you're making a huge decision, how in the world do you get to a place of total confidence? It's probably the single biggest challenge any leader has to deal with.
You know, the problem is that the old ways of doing things often just don't cut it anymore. A single expert's analysis, it can have blind spots. Gut feelings, hard to build a strategy on. And those black box AI tools, they just spit out an answer and expect you to trust it. All this creates what the source material calls a strategic intelligence gap, that feeling in your gut that leaves you asking, can I really bet the farm on this?
So how do you fix that? How do you close that gap? Well, the first big innovation here is something called the Hive framework, and it's all about orchestrating intelligence, making different parts work together.
Now, the key thing to get is that the Hive isn't just one big superbrain AI. Nope, it's a system, a team, really, of 4 different analytical roles all working together. You've got a lead orchestrator, kind of running the show, a deep archive that handles all the data, a guardian agent that stops everyone from falling into groupthink, and, this is my favorite part, an adversarial red team whose only job is to poke holes in every single assumption.
And this, right here, this is the core idea. Look, anybody can get their hands on a powerful AI these days. That's not the secret sauce. The real product, the real innovation, is the process, the set of rules and protocols for how these different agents collaborate. That careful orchestration is what creates an insight that's way smarter than any single part.
Okay, but having a great team process is only half the battle, right? You also need some hard numbers. And that's where the second piece comes in, the proprietary diagnostic toolkit. Its job is to take those gut feelings and turn them into cold, hard, measurable data.
So instead of just giving you opinions, this toolkit gives you actual scores, actual indices that are grounded in proven ideas from places like physics. It can measure things like market stress or figure out which strategic paths are basically impossible before you spend a dime on them. You know, it's kind of like checking if you have enough gas for a cross-country road trip before you even pull out of the driveway. These aren't just made-up numbers, they're calculated metrics.
Of course, the second you say AI, a huge question mark pops up. Can we trust it? So this next part is all about building that trust, and it hinges on using something called glass box AI. This is absolutely fundamental if you're ever going to feel confident enough to act on a recommendation.
The difference is pretty simple, but it's a game changer. Blockbox AI gives you an answer, but you have no idea how it got there. You just have to take a leap of faith. But Glassbox AI, which is what this system is built on, is all about transparency. You can follow the breadcrumbs all the way back. Every conclusion can be traced to the data and the steps taken. No secrets, no magic tricks.
Now, being transparent is a massive step, but here's a really crucial point. Just seeing the wiring diagram isn't enough. A system you can truly rely on has to be honest with you about what AI can't do. It has to own up to its limitations and actively manage those risks. Let's be real. AI systems are just incredible pattern matchers. They aren't actually thinking, and that means they can come up with some really misleading stuff. You can get a false eureka, where the AI presents something old as a brand new idea, or it might just tell you what it thinks you want to hear. That's called confirmation fluency. So this framework has specific safety protocols built in to catch these things and protect you from being led down the wrong path. And all of this leads us to what might be the single most important piece of the whole puzzle, the final layer of assurance. And it's all about putting human judgment right at the center of everything. It's a concept they call the Gödelian check. The big idea here is pretty profound. Any formal system, whether it's math or an AI, has limits. There are some truths it just can't prove or even see. These are the kinds of things you only learn from years of experience, from being in the trenches. The Gödelian check is a formal process that makes sure that priceless human expertise vets and has the power to override any conclusion the AI comes up with.
And this isn't just some vague concept. It's a real 4-step protocol. It kicks off with a simple intuition check. Hey, does this actually feel right? Then you start thinking about those unprovable truths, things the data can't capture. You check for outside factors the model might have missed. And finally, you ask, are we okay with the client seeing exactly how we got here? It's a true partnership with human wisdom, not just a rubber stamp. So here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway. All the fancy tools, all the AI number crunching, all the data, it's all designed to be an input for human judgment. The system is here to augment expertise, not to replace it. It's about empowering leaders, not sidelining them.
Okay, so we've looked at the Hive, the toolkit, the glass box approach, and the human checks. What does all of that add up to? The outcome. The whole point is to give you the ability to act with total confidence because you know the result you're holding is clear, verifiable, and has survived an absolute gauntlet of tests.
And when I say a gauntlet, I really mean it. Just look at this. Before any recommendation even gets close to you, it has to get multiple AI agents to agree, it has to survive a brutal challenge from the red team, it has to pass all the data constraints, and then, finally, it has to get the sign-off from that all-important human strategist with the Godelian check.
So, what does this actually mean for you? What do you get at the end of the day? Well, you don't just get another slide deck. You get a full strategic package, a quantified assessment that tells you exactly where you stand, strategic options that have already been battle-tested, a clear roadmap to get started, and underneath it all, full transparency, so you can trust every single conclusion.
Ultimately, this whole model is built to deliver on three things. Depth, because it sees things that pure intuition might miss. Trust, because of that complete transparency. And speed, because this whole AI architecture can run through scenarios incredibly fast.
So, if you want to boil it all down, the entire philosophy behind the Insight Matrix really stands on three pillars. First, collaborative AI, so you get multiple perspectives and no blind spots. Second, glass box transparency, so you can actually see how the sausage is made and trust the results. And third, human primacy, making absolutely sure that your experience and your judgment always have the final say.
Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. When you're facing that next huge, messy, strategic challenge, what is that level of confidence truly worth to you?